Ashley Gonzalez reminds us of the anti blackness, colorism, and racism towards black people that exists in our communities. Not only is this about condemning the actions of Ashley Gonzalez and all of her hateful racist comments, it is about holding our friends, our family members, and other people in the community accountable. Do you know of any of your family members or friends who casually use the N-word? Are you doing anything to stop them? Are we continuing the erasure of Afro-Latinx and Black Latinx people in our communities? Are we holding ourselves accountable for the anti-Blackness and racism towards Black people that exists in Latinx communities? Are we forcing other Latinx, Latina creators to speak out against the racism clearly displayed by Ashley Gonzalez? Let's not make this about how you're not individually racist, but about the ways that anti-blackness and racism towards Black people exists in our communities. Especially because Ashley Gonzalez was a police officer and directly affects the lives of Black people in Houston, we need to hold ourselves accountable to not allow this type of racism to exist and to condemn those in our communities who say these things.
Now see, Adam got comfortable. He done let a couple BBCs run through his wife. He employed a couple of y'all to come on there and make a fool of yourself, incriminate yourself. So now he's defending Mexicans using the N-word, and when you have something to say, he got a problem with it because y'all done got him comfortable. Y'all get so excited when the W show up and he give you validation. He even let you pipe his wife down. Right? Y'all think that y'all accept it. So now you mad because he's backing Mexicans using the N-word.
Hear me? What I'm saying,
right? But when a Mexican uses the word, they're not using it as a term of hatred. Can we just agree on that?
That's not the truth always, and it doesn't matter. Say
it is 99% of the time.
No, it's not. All right, let's say you're right. Let's say all right. Let's say
every Hispanic person that we know is using the N-word as a term of endearment.
All right, listen. Let's say, just because he said he grew up in, man, let's keep it a band. A lot of these dudes don't like Black people. Let's keep it real. I'm from LA, bro.
Not the ones I know.
Man, that's what you keep saying. You from what you know. You don't know. Clearly, you don't know.
Listen,
a lot of people.
I don't hang out around the long goes. I don't know. I don't hang out with the Mexicans who are so burned out that they hate Black people.
Yeah.
That's obviously
really saying that they don't like Black people. They use the N-word.
That is less than 1% of Mexican people in LA.
You said less than 1%.
You think less than 1% of Hispanic people have actual racial animosity?
We talking about gang. We talking about gang members. We're not talking about.
No, we're not. We're talking about people and like human beings. You just threw in the gang thing, and we are talking about the gang thing.
It's not less than.
But also, I would say less than 1% of like Mexican gang members have negative opinions towards Black people, right? But either way, you're trying to argue against Ricky by comparing two things that are completely different, which is one is a term of hatred and one is like a friendly term that is used to embrace.
And I don't think it come out of nobody word to me. It point whether they want to say that or not. That's like you saying, oh, just because I'm Mexican, I can say it's an term of endearment. It can't be a term of endearment if somebody finds it offensive. So how are you going to tell me if I find it offensive? I don't care what you're using it or what you're attending. It's offensive to me and the people that feel the same about me. So
you're saying that if 99% of people that this random Mexican person we're imagining they uses it around, they take it as a term of endearment, just because a small amount of people take it as like a hateful term. You're saying that it is a hateful term.
So you said a small amount of Black people.
Yes, I would say the vast majority of Black people do not give a about Spanish people.
And that's a lie. And that's a lie. That's a lie. Yeah, that's a lie.
But then why are there so many popular Mexican rappers who say the N-word all the time that you almost never hear anybody say shit about it? Why are we sitting right now with a make-believe Jewish Mexican dude who says it all the time and apparently has mostly received a pass throughout his life for saying it? It really pains me that we're still talking about the N-word. We need to talk about other things on this podcast. This is the most basic thing you could possibly talk about in the podcast.
Mad, bro.
No, because
it's not your word.
You find a way to take every single conversation that we have on here and turn it into a conversation about the N-word. That is your tick, and I'm challenging you to do better.
Man, you can challenge me to do better. I'm going to continue to do it as long as people use the N-word that's not Black.
I'm just asking
I don't care. Don't bring it up. Don't bring up the topic. Don't bring up the topic.
It wasn't. You just randomly started talking about
what happened with Ricky.
All I'm saying is that at some point, podcasting is not going to be just us talking about the N-word over and over and over.
And Ricky was just saying he don't feel it fit. The J Boo, like that's why he said he felt he felt it was offensive because he not that or whatever.
Yeah,
you know
I mean,
what I'm saying?
you almost never hear this word in current times.
But man, you don't. How you not even in a conversation? With
I love how me being
how?
white means that I'm not even allowed to be alive. That I'm not even allowed to acknowledge the fact that word is almost never used in modern times.
Stop making it seem like you at a cookout besides this podcast, and you not around the aunties and the uncles.
I love the fact that you're acting like I'm not allowed to have any observations about the world around me because I am white. Obviously, nobody says that word anymore.
So I'm from the East Coast, and on the East Coast, growing up, we didn't have no Mexicans, right? We had Puerto Ricans, and for the 90%, we didn't go back. We didn't have like race riots and fights with Ricans like that. We pretty much grew up together. Now up in New York, they had pretty much the same as Philly, but they had their issues at times with the Dominicans and stuff like that. Growing up in a black utopia like Philadelphia, that didn't exist. Our numbers was too great. We got along with Puerto Ricans, but when I came to the internet, before the internet, when I started to travel, going to California, going to Miami, and going to places, I started seeing things within a culture that wasn't like where I came from. So I started hearing my brothers and sisters talk about the Mexicans. And I had some Mexican homies out of Culver City. And one day, one of the homies said to me, man, you're not like the other blacks, man. You trustworthy, man. Like, you're honorable. You're this. And I'm like, what? I was green. I didn't know that it was like that because I lived 3,000 miles to the east. And then I had some homeboys from out there say, man, no, we don't get along with the Mexicans like that, man. They ain't cool. A lot of Mexicans are racist towards blacks. Remember, he told me, he said, bro, y'all outnumber the Hispanics where you come from like damn near 6-1. Out here, they outnumber us that way. So they're real racist towards us. And I was like, well, damn, man, that's messed up because I was never told or taught to be racist towards anybody by my people. But he said the same thing. I had some homies from the Swans that was out there. And they was talking about those Mexicans, man, and how racist they are, messed up they are. But like I said, I had some homies out of Culver City, and then I had some Mexican homies from down in Diego. And man, no, they used to say some real bad stuff about blacks on the West Coast. And they was cool with us because, you know, this was when I was in the street. We was cool with them, but it was more on a business level, right? They would come over there. They would come over to the East. We would go out there and stuff like that. But it's bad because now you have like a lot of Hispanics that's really uncovering this and calling this stuff out. And they're starting to hold their own community accountable for a lot of this racism.
Go ahead and talk about why it's problematic to say statements like, we do not claim them or we do not claim her. In regards to the racist Houston police officer, Ashley Gonzalez, and we got to talk about it. There's this common argument that I keep hearing from some Latinos saying, well, she does not represent me. Oh, well, she's not a representation of the Hispanic or Latino community. And that's as far as they'll go in regards to addressing the situation. Ashley Gonzalez is a representative of a very real issue that exists within the Latino community, and that is anti-blackness. There is no denying that, respective to the history in Latino America, there has been a history of anti-blackness, and you can look at respective nations, whether it's Mexico, Argentina, look at the caste systems that were created, and it was descendants of Africans, black people, that were always at the bottom of the social class. Those social classes were organized by this pseudoscience of a racialized hierarchy, and part of that is because the Latino identity, it's inherently anti-black, and it's anti-indigenous. It is an identity that is built on the erasure of those two groups and saying things like, oh, well, I don't claim them. Like, I'm very happy that you're not like that. However, I believe that you cannot accept an identity like the Latino identity without acknowledging both the good and the bad. And a lot of that bad is this normalized anti-blackness that we see across all countries in Latino America. And these are ideas that have influenced the culture, which is why you also have ideas like mejorando la raza. Something that I've been saying is that anti-blackness and Latinos aiming for whiteness is not something new to Latinos here in the U.S. It is also an idea that they bring with them when they come here to the U.S. because if you look at the history of the respective Latino country, you're going to find that there has been a history of anti-blackness, and it happens to get reinforced here in the U.S. So instead of saying, well, I don't claim them, I think it's very important to call that person out or call them in, because you cannot begin to deconstruct the Latino identity without accepting that there is inherent in it anti-blackness. But go ahead and let me know what you think.
And see, and like he said Latino culture is inherently anti-black and anti-indigenous. Like if you ain't representing Spain or that Latino culture, they don't like you, and they definitely hate blackness because they want to assimilate to whiteness, right? So if anything connected with that, you're going to be a problem immediately. Right? You want to be a problem. And this is a Spanish guy calling it out. He's telling you what goes on in his culture and his community amongst his people. So he disagrees with Adam 22. Now, Adam 22 want to disrespect his black host, right? And say, well, it's only like 1% that feel this way. Well, the Mexican community disagree with you because they're telling you that in their culture, this is what they're taught from birth. Right? They do it to their indigenous population amongst their people, and they do it to the black populations, right? They and even that. Listen, if you are of that Latino descent or Hispanic descent and you're brown, you're going to be called names. You're going to be excommunicated, like you're pushed out or pushed to the side, or you're going to be a second-class citizen, right? I mean, but it gets even worse than that because they out there doing this.
Phenomenon, which I didn't imagine was possible, of Latino gangs attacking black gangs on the street. And then it turns out not just black gangs, but black residents of whatever neighborhood happened to be.
Let's unpack that for a second, because that's a hugely important phenomenon that occurred during that specific era.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the 204th Street gang that killed that young girl, but we had it spread to Highland Park, Hawaiian Gardens, Artesia, Hazard.
Many of these gangs were totally notorious for it.
Florencia 13 was one of the biggest ones, and the large indictments that ensued after this.
Right. When I got onto it, I remember it was a case. The first thing I remember were there's two cases. One was a bunch of murders in the Highland Park area of black people who had moved to Highland Park to get away from Inglewood or Compton or whatever. It was normally blacks moving away from the gang, the crack gang problem, and moving to areas where they thought they'd be safe, and it turns out they're in like Latino gang neighborhoods, just as the Latino gangs are figuring out our money is in taxation and in getting rid of black drug dealer competitions. And so that was one thing. And then within short order, this was 2 or 3 months after joining the Times in the summer of '04, there was a trial in Pomona Courthouse of 5 gangbangers from Azusa 13.
That was Jacopedia's crew.
Right, exactly. And the idea was these guys had seen that same migration of black people into the Azusa area, not a lot, but enough to make them very aware and upset. And these guys would go hunting black people, black men. I remember one night though, the testimony was by one of the guys who dropped out. He said, we couldn't find any black men, so we shot a black woman who was out like 10 o'clock at night saying goodbye to a friend, and she lost her spleen, later testified. I watched her testimony and I'm going, I don't believe this. They're killing women, innocent bystander types because of this. And that got me into this whole idea that with the MA's edicts on no drive-bys, with the taxation system came something was far less publicized, and that was get rid of the black, initially it was black gang members, but then, as one guy told me, you're getting this communication from Pelican Bay through kites and, emissaries and llaveros and all that, and it's being translated on the street by meth-addicted gang members who are like 19 or 16 or whatever, and they're translating it into, let's just get the blacks, And so you began to see, what I began to realize was there had been up to that point a number of years, beginning in the mid-90s, not long after the taxation system takes place, you get this whole series of what looked to me very much like Jim Crow Southern anti-integration violence that you saw in the 50s, like in Birmingham, Alabama, car bombings. I talked to one guy, and Hawaiian Gardens was notorious for this. Some of the gangs were really, Florencia, the Highland Park, the Avenues gangs. Hawaiian Gardens, as one guy goes, we had this meeting, and the guy goes, and you got to go tell him to leave. And so this one dude, this tiny little short dude, skinny guy, walks up to a house while people he actually knew and liked and tell him, you got to go. And the black owner of the house goes, what are you talking about? You got to go, we're going to kill you. And he's like, get the hell out of here, God damn it. And they firebombed his house, like a firebomb in like Birmingham, Alabama or something like that. And a football player in Hawaiian Gardens, a black football player, was just murdered just walking on the street. You began to see these. I remember in Pacoima, there was
You have righteous and good Mexican people that disagree with Adam. Now, Adam is a W that made a whole bunch of money off of black culture. And look at how he repaying y'all out there in California. And y'all not, the sad part is, y'all not going to do nothing to hold him accountable. Y'all going to let him get away with it. If black people say, hey, they got a problem with Mexicans and W's using the N-word, that's the last thing. Adam 22 shouldn't have a problem with that at all. But again, when you got a person that don't respect you, have no respect for you as a people, this is what happens, to the point where Mexicans even disagree with him. They've been calling this stuff out because every Mexican don't want to be associated with this devilish behavior. Not all human beings are bad, right? You have some people that see this stuff and say, no, man, because I don't experience that same thing when I go over there with the blacks. The blacks don't treat me that way. I move into that community and I don't experience that. Now, in the city, you may have violence. They claim that you had gangs that was robbing Mexican vendors. That may have happened, but is that the totality of all black people? No, absolutely not. So how do you do that to all black people, man? Right? It ain't got nothing to do with the vendors. It has everything to do with the anti-black thoughts in your that was been taught to you and passed down generationally, right? You treat your indigenous ones horrible. You treat the black indigenous human beings horrible because you want close proximity to whiteness. And that's just what it is, man. That's just what it is. Adam 22, man, y'all, the sad part is, y'all should be done with him after this disrespect. But the crazy part is, you're not. He's still going to continue to make money off of you. But y'all guys let me know what y'all think. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button, subscribe to Street Media TV, leave your comments in the comment section. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time, peace.